The fan creaked like it was protesting existence. Don't die on me today, Samuel muttered, staring at it like it owed him money. The tiny room was hot, cramped, and painfully honest. No decorations, no luxury, just a thin mattress, a shaky table, scattered blueprints, and a stubborn dream refusing to die. Samuel sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by papers. Not just papers, ideas. Brilliant ideas, machines that could change lives. One blueprint showed a compact generator that could power a small house with minimal fuel. Another was a farming device designed to reduce manual labor by over 60%. There was even a water purification system scribbled in detail. He picked one up and stared at it. "This one alone should make me a millionaire," he said. Then he dropped it. "But instead, I'm here negotiating with hunger." His stomach growled loudly. Samuel paused. "Relax. We are both suffering." Flashback. The glory days. Just 2 years ago, Samuel was the pride of his university. First-class graduate, best in mechanical engineering. Lecturers used his projects as examples. "Be like Samuel," they would say. Now, even his landlord didn't want to be like Samuel. Rejection number 1. The investor. Samuel remembered his first major pitch. He had walked into a shiny office, full of confidence. The investor barely looked up. "So, what do you have?" the man asked, scrolling through his phone. Samuel presented passionately, explained every detail, every benefit, every possibility. When he finished, silence. Then the investor leaned back. Samuel leaned forward eagerly. "Yes, sir?" "This is too risky." Samuel blinked. "Sir, but too technical. Sir, I can simplify. Too ambitious." Samuel sighed. "So, what exactly do you want me to build? Rechargeable torchlight?" The investor didn't laugh. Next. Rejection number 2. Government office. That one hurt more. Samuel stood in a long queue, holding his proposal file like it contained his entire future. Because it did. When it was finally his turn, the officer barely glanced at him. "Drop it." Samuel hesitated. "Sir, I'd like to explain." "No need. Leave it." "Sir, it can help improve." "Next person." Samuel stood there for a second. "Sir, please." The officer looked up, annoyed. "Do you know how many geniuses come here every day?" Samuel swallowed. "But I'm not just—" "Next." That was the end of it. No feedback. No call. No hope. Back to reality. Samuel lay flat on the floor, staring at the ceiling. "I studied all night. Solved complex equations. Built machines." He turned his head slowly, just to end up defeated by receptionists and security guards. He laughed. A dry, tired laugh. Life is funny. The breaking point. He reached for his phone. No missed calls, no emails, nothing. He opened his messages. The last one read, "We regret to inform you." Samuel threw the phone on the mattress. "I reject your regret." He stood up and paced the room. What exactly is the problem? Is it Nigeria? Is it my village people working overtime? He stopped and looked at his reflection in a small cracked mirror. "You're a genius, Samuel." Pause. "But genius without connection is just stress." He sighed deeply. For the first time in years, his shoulders dropped, his confidence cracked, his voice softened. "Maybe I should just stop." The words felt heavy, dangerous, final, a quiet decision. He picked up one of his blueprints again, stared at it for a long time. Then slowly, he placed it face down. "I'll try one more time," he whispered. "Just one more." He stood up, grabbed his worn-out slippers, and headed for the door. "Let me go and clear my head before I sell these papers to a carouseller." He paused at the door, looked back at the room, at the dreams, at the struggle, then shook his head. "If success is hiding, it better come out today, because I'm tired of hide and seek." He stepped out into the hot Lagos sun, unaware that his life was about to change forever. The blast of cool air hit Samuel the moment he stepped into the mall. He stopped at the entrance, closed his eyes briefly, and inhaled. Ah, this is the kind of air my ancestors dreamed about. Outside, the sun had been unforgiving. Inside, peace, calm, soft music, shiny floors that looked like they had never experienced dust in their entire existence. Samuel adjusted his worn slippers and walked in carefully, almost like the floor might reject him too. "Just behave like you belong here," he whispered to himself. He passed by luxury stores, watches, suits, perfumes, all arranged like they were too important to be touched by ordinary hands. One perfume bottle caught his eye. He checked the price. He froze. For this amount, the perfume should come with a personal bodyguard. He quickly looked away before the price offended him further. Observation mode activated. Samuel found a quiet seat and sat down, watching people move around. Confident people, rich people, people who walked like life had never embarrassed them before. A young couple passed by, laughing. A man in a tailored suit spoke loudly on his phone about closing deals. A woman casually held a handbag worth more than Samuel's entire existence. Samuel shook his head slowly. These people are not under the same economic weather as me. His stomach growled again. He tapped it lightly. "Please behave. We are here for AC, not food." The moment, that's when he saw him. An elderly man, dressed simply but expensively, the kind of simple that costs money. The man was struggling with multiple shopping bags, trying to balance them while walking toward the parking area. People passed by him. Nobody stopped. Samuel watched for a few seconds, then sighed. "Even if I'm broke, I'm not wicked." He stood up and walked over. "Sir, please let me help you." The man looked at him, slightly surprised. "You sure? These bags are not small." Samuel smiled. "Sir, I've carried group assignments before. This is nothing." The man chuckled. "All right then, let's see your strength." Samuel grabbed the bags. His confidence immediately regretted it. "Ah, sir, what did you buy? Bricks?" The man laughed. "Just a few things." Samuel adjusted his grip. "These few things can start a construction company." They walked side by side toward the parking lot. The man glanced at Samuel. "You don't look like a mall regular." Samuel laughed. "Sir, I'm a visitor. Tourist of air conditioning." The man smiled. "What do you do?" Samuel paused briefly, then said, "I'm an engineer." The man raised an eyebrow. "And yet you're carrying my bags?" Samuel shrugged. "Engineering is currently on break. Life put it on unpaid leave." The man looked at him more closely now. There was no bitterness in Samuel's tone, just honesty. "And what kind of engineering?" "Mechanical. I build machines, or at least I try to." "Try?" Samuel sighed. "Let's just say my ideas are too big for people's belief." The man nodded slowly. "Interesting." The parking lot reveal. They reached the parking area. Samuel froze. Cars lined up like an exhibition, sleek, polished, expensive. But one stood out, a black luxury car that looked like it had its own bank account. Samuel blinked. "Sir, is this your car?" The man casually nodded. "Yes." Samuel carefully placed the bags inside like they were fragile treasures. He stepped back, dusting his hands. "Sir, if I mistakenly scratch this car, will I go to prison or just disappear mysteriously?" The man burst out laughing. "Relax. You've done enough already." The unexpected gift. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a card. He handed it to Samuel. "Take this." Samuel looked at it, then looked again. His brain needed confirmation. CEO, major conglomerate. A name everyone in business circles knew. Samuel's mouth opened slightly. "Sir, this is not normal business card." The man smiled. "I don't give it out normally." Samuel looked up confused. "Then why me?" The man studied him for a second. "Because you helped without calculation." Samuel scratched his head. "I didn't even calculate that the bags would be this heavy." The man laughed again. "Call me on Monday." Samuel held the card tightly. "Sir, you're serious?" The man's expression became calm, confident. "I don't joke with opportunity." Samuel nodded slowly. "Me too, sir. Opportunity and I, we are not close, but I'm ready." A strange detail. As the man entered the car, he paused. "Samuel." Samuel froze. Yes, sir? How long have you been struggling? Samuel blinked. Long enough to greet struggle as brother. The man nodded thoughtfully, then got into the car. The engine started smoothly, like it respected itself. As the car drove away, Samuel stood there, still holding the card. He looked at it again, then laughed suddenly. Wait, what just happened? He spun around slightly. Nobody should wake me up, oh. If this is dream, let me finish it. The walk home. Samuel walked home instead of taking a bus. He needed to think. Every few steps he checked the card again. Still there. Still real. CEO wants me to call him. He smiled. Ah, my life is finally upgrading from seen to replying. He looked up at the sky. God, if this is prank, it's not funny, oh. As he reached his street, the reality started settling in. This could be something, or nothing. But for the first time in a long while, hope returned. Samuel held the card close. Monday, he whispered, then smiled. Let's see if destiny finally picked my call. Monday morning arrived like an exam Samuel didn't feel fully prepared for. He barely slept. Not because of noise, not because of heat, but because of possibility. Samuel sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the card again, for the 100th time. CEO, he whispered, then looked around his room. Peeling paint, shaky table, blueprints scattered like abandoned dreams. He sighed. Please don't let this be one of those almost moments. The preparation. He stood up and went to his small mirror. Cracked, faithful, honest. He adjusted his shirt. The famous interview survivor. He brushed it with his hand, like that would magically upgrade it to designer. Today, behave yourself, he told the shirt. Then he looked at his face. You too. Don't look like someone that hasn't eaten since yesterday. His stomach growled. Samuel paused. We will discuss you later. He grabbed a comb and carefully fixed his hair. Then leaned closer to the mirror. Samuel, today don't go there and be saying nonsense. He pointed at himself. No jokes. Pause. Okay. Small jokes. The phone call battle. He picked up his phone, dialed halfway, stopped, cut the call. Too early. He paced the room, checked the time. 7:42 a.m. Rich people wake up early, right? He dialed again, stopped, cut. What if he has forgotten me? He sat down, stood up again. No, he said. Call. He dialed again, this time. He let it ring, ring, ring. Samuel's heart started beating faster. Pick up, please pick up. Click. Hello. Samuel froze. His brain went blank. Everything he planned to say disappeared. Hello? The voice repeated. Samuel finally spoke. Good morning, sir. This is Samuel. Pause. The bag carrier. Silence. Then, laughter. Deep, genuine laughter. Ah, my strongest employee without salary. Samuel exhaled. Sir, promotion is allowed. The invitation. So, Samuel, the billionaire said, you called. That's good. Yes, sir. I didn't want opportunity to say I ignored it. Smart. Samuel stood straighter, even though nobody could see him. Sir, come to my office. Samuel froze. Sir, like, today? Yes, today. Samuel looked around his room like confirmation would be written on the wall. Sir, I'm ready. Good. Write down the address. Samuel grabbed a pen quickly. The pen refused to write. Ah, not today, he whispered angrily, shaking it. Samuel? The voice asked. Yes, sir. 1 second, sir. My pen is behaving like Nigerian network. Finally, ink came out. He wrote quickly. Got it, sir. Be here by 10. Yes, sir. And Samuel? Yes, sir. Don't be late. Samuel straightened like a soldier. I will be early, sir. African time will not follow me today. The man chuckled. Good. Call ended. Reality hits. Samuel stood there, staring at his phone, then slowly looked at the address, then back at his room, then back at the address. This is real. He suddenly jumped. Ah, he ran around the room. Samuel, you're going to see a CEO. He stopped abruptly. Don't go there and disgrace your village. The journey. By 8:30 a.m., Samuel was already outside. Too early. But he couldn't sit still. He entered a bus, sat down carefully, held his bag tightly. Inside were his blueprints, his life's work, his hope. The bus conductor shouted, "Where you dey go?" Samuel replied confidently, "Future." The conductor blinked. "I mean the location." Samuel quickly corrected himself. "Sorry, business district." Internal thoughts. As the bus moved, Samuel stared out the window. His mind was racing. What if he doesn't like my ideas? What if this is just another rejection? He shook his head. No, not this time. He tightened his grip on the bag. This time, I'm ready. Arrival. Samuel got down and looked up and froze. The building stood tall. Glass, steel, power, presence. People walked in and out like they belonged there. Samuel swallowed. This is not office. This is headquarters of success. He looked at himself, then at the building, then back at himself. Samuel, don't faint here. This is not the time. He took a deep breath, adjusted his shirt, lifted his head, and walked in. As the glass doors closed behind him, Samuel whispered quietly, "Whatever happens today, my life will not remain the same." The glass doors slid open silently as Samuel stepped in. Immediately, everything changed. The air felt organized, cool, calm, controlled. Not like his room, where even the fan behaved like it had emotional issues. Samuel paused just inside the entrance, trying not to look overwhelmed. But his eyes had already betrayed him. They were moving everywhere. Left, right, up, down. "Jesus," he whispered. "This place has its own atmosphere." The first impression, the floor shined like it had never seen dust before, not even in pictures. The walls were sleek glass mixed with warm wooden panels. Soft gold lighting glowed from hidden corners, giving the place a calm, powerful elegance. Everything screamed modern luxury, but not loud, not flashy, just confident. Samuel adjusted his shirt again. "Even the light here is rich," he murmured. The reception. At the front desk sat a receptionist, elegant, composed, typing like every key mattered. She looked up as Samuel approached. "Good morning," she said with a polite smile. Samuel swallowed slightly. "Good morning, ma'am." "How can I help you?" Samuel cleared his throat. I have an appointment with the CEO." The words felt strange coming out of his mouth, like he borrowed them. She raised an eyebrow slightly. "Your name?" "Samuel." She paused, looked at him, then at her screen, then back at him. There was a brief moment of silence. Samuel's heart started racing. "Ah, here it comes," he thought. "They will say we'll get back to you." Then, her expression changed instantly. "Oh, yes, Mr. Samuel, you're expected." Samuel blinked. "Expected?" "Yes, please go right in." She gestured politely. Samuel stood there for a second. "Ah," he leaned slightly closer and whispered, "So, this card is powerful like that?" She smiled professionally. "Very." Samuel nodded slowly. Noted. The lock of awe. As he walked deeper into the building, Samuel noticed everything. Employees moving confidently, soft conversations, phones ringing quietly, no shouting, no chaos. Everything flowed, like a well-designed machine. Samuel smiled slightly. "See organization. My country can learn from this office alone." He passed by glass offices with minimalist setups, clean desks, modern chairs, art pieces that looked like they had meaning, but Samuel didn't understand it. He stopped briefly in front of one. "Is this art? Or did someone just forget to finish drawing?" He shook his head. "Leave it. It's expensive confusion." The elevator moment. He entered the elevator. Mirrors everywhere. Samuel saw his reflection from multiple angles. He adjusted his shirt again. "Samuel, stand straight. Don't look like you came to beg." Pause. "Even though you technically came to beg." He sighed. "No, you came to present value." He nodded to himself. "Yes, that sounds better." The elevator dinged. The final walk. A well-dressed assistant approached him immediately. "Mr. Samuel?" Samuel straightened. "Yes, please, follow me." The carpet was soft, so soft, Samuel felt like apologizing for stepping on it. "Even the ground here is comfortable," he whispered. The assistant stopped in front of a large door, knocked gently. "Sir, he's here." A calm voice responded. "Send him in." The CEO's office. The door opened. Samuel stepped in and stopped. The office was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the city like a painting. Sunlight filtered in softly, blending perfectly with the warm interior lighting. Minimal, but powerful. A large desk. Clean lines. No clutter. A few carefully placed decor pieces, modern sculptures, abstract art, a single green plant adding life to the space. Everything had intention. Nothing was random. Samuel whispered under his breath, "This office is not decorated, it is planned." The man behind it all, the billionaire, sat behind the desk, relaxed, confident, in control. He looked up, smiled. "Samuel." Samuel walked forward carefully. "Good morning, sir." "Welcome." Samuel sat down slowly, trying not to look like someone who had never experienced such a chair before. But the chair itself betrayed him. It was too comfortable. Samuel shifted slightly. "Sir, if I sit here too long, I might not go back home." The billionaire chuckled. "Relax." The moment of truth. There was a brief silence. Then the billionaire leaned forward slightly. Calm. Direct. "So, what can I do for you?" Samuel froze. The question hit him deep. Not because it was complicated, but because it was rare. Very rare. For years, nobody had asked him that. They only told him, not now, not possible, not interested. But this was different. Samuel let out a small, disbelieving laugh. "Sir, do you know you're the first person to ask me that question seriously?" The billionaire raised a brow. "Really?" Samuel nodded. "Yes, sir. Usually people just reject me before I even finish greeting." The billionaire smiled slightly. "Well, today is different." Samuel looked at him. For a moment, everything else faded. The office, the fear, the pressure, all gone. This was his moment. Samuel took a deep breath, reached for his bag, and said, "Then, sir, let me show you why I refuse to give up." The glass doors slid open silently as Samuel stepped in. Immediately, everything changed. The air felt organized, cool, calm, controlled. Not like his room, where even the fan behaved like it had emotional issues. Samuel paused just inside the entrance, trying not to look overwhelmed. But his eyes had already betrayed him. They were moving everywhere. Left, right, up, down. "Jesus," he whispered. "This place has its own atmosphere." The first impression, the floor shined like it had never seen dust before, not even in pictures. The walls were sleek glass mixed with warm wooden panels. Soft gold lighting glowed from hidden corners, giving the place a calm, powerful elegance. Everything screamed modern luxury, but not loud, not flashy, just confident. Samuel adjusted his shirt again. "Even the light here is rich," he murmured. The reception. At the front desk sat a receptionist, elegant, composed, typing like every key mattered. She looked up as Samuel approached. "Good morning," she said with a polite smile. Samuel swallowed slightly. "Good morning, ma'am." "How can I help you?" Samuel cleared his throat. I have an appointment with the CEO." The words felt strange coming out of his mouth, like he borrowed them. She raised an eyebrow slightly. "Your name?" "Samuel." She paused, looked at him, then at her screen, then back at him. There was a brief moment of silence. Samuel's heart started racing. "Ah, here it comes," he thought. "They will say we'll get back to you." Then, her expression changed instantly. "Oh, yes, Mr. Samuel, you're expected." Samuel blinked. "Expected?" "Yes. Please go right in." She gestured politely. Samuel stood there for a second. "Ah." He leaned slightly closer and whispered, "So, this card is powerful like that?" She smiled professionally. "Very." Samuel nodded slowly. Noted. The lock of awe. As he walked deeper into the building, Samuel noticed everything. Employees moving confidently, soft conversations, phones ringing quietly, no shouting, no chaos. Everything flowed, like a well-designed machine. Samuel smiled slightly. "See organization. My country can learn from this office alone." He passed by glass offices with minimalist setups, clean desks, modern chairs, art pieces that looked like they had meaning, but Samuel didn't understand it. He stopped briefly in front of one. "Is this art? Or did someone just forget to finish drawing?" He shook his head. "Leave it. It's expensive confusion." The elevator moment. He entered the elevator. Mirrors everywhere. Samuel saw his reflection from multiple angles. He adjusted his shirt again. Samuel, stand straight. Don't look like you came to beg. Pause. Even though you technically came to beg. He sighed. No, you came to present value. He nodded to himself. Yes, that sounds better. The elevator dinged. The final walk, a well-dressed assistant approached him immediately. Mr. Samuel? Samuel straightened. Yes, please, follow me. The carpet was soft, so soft, Samuel felt like apologizing for stepping on it. Even the ground here is comfortable, he whispered. The assistant stopped in front of a large door, knocked gently. Sir, he's here. A calm voice responded. Send him in. The CEO's office. The door opened. Samuel stepped in and stopped. The office was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the city like a painting. Sunlight filtered in softly, blending perfectly with the warm interior lighting. Minimal, but powerful. A large desk. Clean lines. No clutter. A few carefully placed decor pieces, modern sculptures, abstract art, a single green plant adding life to the space. Everything had intention. Nothing was random. Samuel whispered under his breath, This office is not decorated, it is planned. The man behind it all, the billionaire, sat behind the desk, relaxed, confident, in control. He looked up, smiled. Samuel. Samuel walked forward carefully. Good morning, sir. Welcome. Samuel sat down slowly, trying not to look like someone who had never experienced such a chair before. But the chair itself betrayed him. It was too comfortable. Samuel shifted slightly. Sir, if I sit here too long, I might not go back home. The billionaire chuckled. Relax. The moment of truth. There was a brief silence. Then the billionaire leaned forward slightly. Calm. Direct. So, what can I do for you? Samuel froze. The question hit him deep. Not because it was complicated, but because it was rare. Very rare. For years, nobody had asked him that. They only told him, not now, not possible, not interested. But this was different. Samuel let out a small, disbelieving laugh. Sir, do you know you're the first person to ask me that question seriously? The billionaire raised a brow. Really? Samuel nodded. Yes, sir. Usually people just reject me before I even finish greeting. The billionaire smiled slightly. Well, today is different. Samuel looked at him. For a moment, everything else faded. The office, the fear, the pressure, all gone. This was his moment. Samuel took a deep breath, reached for his bag, and said, Then, sir, let me show you why I refuse to give up. The first thing Samuel noticed after the meeting was not money, not contracts, not even celebration. It was silence turning into movement. The kind of movement that changes everything quietly before the world realizes it's already too late. The first call that changed everything. 2 days after the meeting, Samuel received a call. Unknown number. He hesitated, then picked. Hello? A calm voice responded. Mr. Samuel, you now have access to the Development Fund account. Your first allocation has been approved. Samuel blinked. Sir, sorry, which fund? Your project fund. Samuel sat down immediately. Ah, he looked around his room. Same cracked wall, same struggling fan, same life. But now, something inside it had changed. Sir, he said slowly, please don't joke with my heart. I don't joke with results, the voice replied, then ended the call. Samuel stared at his phone, then slowly placed it down. Okay. He nodded to himself. Life has officially shifted gears. From room to lab. Within weeks, everything changed. Samuel was moved into a proper workspace. Not just any space, a state-of-the-art innovation lab. Glass walls, white minimalist design, soft LED lighting that adjusted automatically with daylight. Smart desks, digital whiteboards. Even the chairs looked like they had engineering degrees. Samuel walked in slowly. Ah, he turned around. This place looks like it thinks before I do. An assistant smiled. Welcome, sir. This is your lab. Samuel pointed at himself. My lab? Yes. He paused, then whispered. So I finally upgraded from room of suffering to room of possibilities. First team meeting. A group of engineers stood waiting. highly qualified, well-dressed, confident. Samuel looked at them and froze slightly, then whispered to himself, God, why are all of them looking like they already know what they're doing? One of them greeted him. Sir, we're ready to begin under your direction. Samuel blinked. Direction? Yes, sir. He cleared his throat. Okay, first rule. Everyone leaned in. Samuel nodded seriously. No laughing at my drawings. They have feelings. The room went silent for 2 seconds. Then laughter erupted. Even Samuel laughed. Good. At least we started with honesty. The first prototype, days turned into nights. Samuel barely noticed time anymore. For the first time in his life, he wasn't begging for attention. He was building, designing, testing, failing, improving. One night, one of the engineers called out, Sir, it works. Samuel rushed over. The machine powered up smoothly, stable, efficient, exactly as designed. Samuel froze. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then he stepped back slowly. It works. He looked at his hands. These same hands that were carrying bags are now building this. He laughed suddenly, a real laugh. God, you're funny. The first launch, the billionaire didn't interfere. He only watched, supported, funded, allowed Samuel to lead. When the first prototype was ready for demonstration, Samuel stood in front of a small audience. Investors, engineers, media. He adjusted his shirt. Now slightly upgraded, but still Samuel. He looked at the machine, then at the crowd, then said, 3 years ago, I was told this was impossible. Pause. I was told to stop dreaming. He smiled, but I didn't stop. He pressed a button. The machine activated. Smooth, powerful, efficient. The room went quiet, then erupted. Applause, whispers, shock. Samuel stood there silently, watching something he once only saw in his mind, now standing in reality. The news explosion. By the next week, it spread. Fast, very fast. Young Nigerian engineer builds revolutionary energy system, breakthrough in affordable power technology. Samuel, the genius behind the innovation. Interviews requests came in. Blogs picked it up. Social media exploded. People who had never met him suddenly had opinions about him. Some praised him. Some doubted him. Some said, where was he before? Samuel saw the comments and laughed. I was in rejection. You were not subscribed. The billionaire's quiet approval. One evening, Samuel was called into the office. The billionaire sat as usual, calm, composed. He looked at Samuel. You've done well. Samuel nodded. Sir, I think we're just starting. The billionaire smiled slightly. That's the right answer. He stood up and walked to the window. Most people fail before they begin because they want results before effort. He turned back. But you just kept building. Samuel scratched his head. Sir, honestly, I was too broke to quit properly. The billionaire laughed. Sometimes that's the best motivation. The turning point of identity. That night, Samuel sat alone in the lab, looking at the machines, the screens, the prototypes. He whispered, so this is what belief feels like. He smiled, then added, it's very expensive, but I like it. He leaned back in his chair, and for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like a man trying to become something. He felt like a man who had already started becoming it. As the lights of the lab dimmed softly around him, Samuel whispered, maybe I was never late. Maybe I was just being prepared. 3 years had a strange way of reshaping truth. Not loudly, not suddenly, but steadily, like a river carving stone. And Samuel had been carved into something entirely new. The morning of power. Samuel stepped out of his car just as the sun hit the glass towers of his headquarters. The building didn't just stand, it announced presence. Samtech Global Innovations. The name wasn't just a brand anymore. It was a movement, a system, a force. Samuel paused at the entrance longer than usual. Not out of doubt, but memory. He remembered standing in places where doors didn't open for him. Now doors opened automatically. He shook his head slightly. Life really has updates, he murmured. The Empire Walk. Inside, everything responded to rhythm. Employees moved with calm precision. No panic, no shouting, no chaos, just flow. The interior was pure modern luxury fused with intelligent design. Glass walls that shifted opacity based on privacy needs. Floating meeting pods suspended with architectural elegance. Soft gold ambient lighting that adjusted with mood sensors. Living green walls that purified air naturally. Digital floor panels displaying real-time global project data. It wasn't just an office. It was a living ecosystem of innovation. Samuel walked slowly through it. An engineer greeted him. "Good morning, sir." Samuel nodded. "Morning. Any fires today?" The engineer smiled. "No, sir. Just global demand increase." Samuel nodded calmly. "That one is a good fire." The office that feels like silence. Samuel entered his office. Minimal, intentional, powerful in its simplicity. A large glass wall opened to a panoramic city view. A single desk sat centered like a command point. On one side, prototypes of his inventions. On the other, awards, certifications, and global recognitions. But Samuel didn't stare at them. He stared at the window and whispered, "So this is what control feels like." He sat down slowly. The chair adjusted itself automatically. Samuel blinked. Even the chair knows my posture better than I do now. The ghost of his past self. For a moment, everything quieted, and his mind drifted backward. He saw it clearly. A cramped room with flickering light, blueprints scattered on the floor, rejection letters stacked like insults, empty plates after long nights of thinking, dreams too big for rooms too small. He smiled faintly. "I used to think I was failing." He shook his head. "I was just in training." The billionaire arrives. A notification came in. "He's here." Samuel straightened slightly, not nervous, just aware. Moments later, the billionaire entered. Same calm presence, same effortless authority. But now, there was something different in how he looked at Samuel. Respect. He observed the office quietly, then nodded. "You built more than I expected." Samuel smiled. "Sir, I built what you allowed me to believe was possible. You built what most people would have abandoned." Samuel leaned back slightly. "I almost did." A pause. The billionaire looked at him. "But you didn't." Samuel nodded. "That part still surprises me too." The global report. An assistant entered with a tablet. "Sir, real-time global update." Samuel accepted it and froze slightly. Their systems had expanded far beyond initial expectations. Hybrid energy systems powering entire rural districts. Smart agricultural machines increasing crop yield significantly. Water purification units deployed in over 12 countries. Research partnerships forming with international institutes. Demand backlog increasing across continents. Samuel blinked. "We are everywhere now?" The assistant nodded. "Yes, sir." Samuel leaned back slowly. "I remember when I was struggling to be seen by one office." He smiled. "Now the world is struggling to keep up." Fame without asking for it. Samuel didn't chase attention, but it came anyway. News outlets called him the silent genius of African innovation, the engineer who redefined survival, the builder of modern solutions. One interviewer once asked, "Do you enjoy being famous?" Samuel smiled and replied, "I didn't become famous. My work just got too loud to ignore." That clip spread everywhere, but Samuel never watched it twice. A meeting of responsibility. Later that day, Samuel gathered his core team. The room was large, glass-walled, holographic displays floating in mid-air. One engineer spoke, "Sir, demand has doubled again." Another added, "And new regions are requesting immediate deployment." Samuel exhaled slowly. He leaned forward. "So the problem now is not survival." Pause. "It's scale." The room went quiet. Then Samuel smiled slightly. "I prefer this problem." Someone asked, "Why, sir?" Samuel replied, "Because scale means people are benefiting." He nodded. "That's a good kind of pressure." The night reflection. That evening, Samuel stayed alone in his office. City lights flickered below like scattered stars. He stood by the glass, silent, thinking. Then he spoke softly to himself. I used to pray for opportunity. He smiled faintly. Now I pray for wisdom. He turned slightly, because opportunity came, and it stayed. He sat down slowly. This is what responsibility looks like when it finally answers your prayers. As the city glowed beneath him, Samuel whispered, I was once ignored. Now even silence listens to what I build. From rejection to empire, Samuel's story is a reminder that greatness is not always recognized at the beginning. Sometimes talent is ignored. Sometimes dreams are dismissed. And sometimes the world takes too long to see what one determined heart already knows. He started with nothing but ideas, rejection letters, and quiet resilience. Yet he refused to let circumstances define him. One simple act of kindness opened a door he never expected, and that door became the turning point of his entire life. From carrying shopping bags to building global innovations. From a small, struggling room to leading a world-changing company, Samuel proved one powerful truth. Your current situation is not your final destination. What matters is not where you start, but what you refuse to give up on. If this story inspired you, like Samuel, someone out there is one opportunity away from transformation. So don't give up on your dreams. Keep building, keep learning, keep pushing, because your Monday call moment might be closer than you think. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, like it, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more inspiring stories like this. More powerful stories of struggle, success, love, and destiny are coming soon.